What is up, Dons Nation? Jaggy here. The season is upon us. It's coming in less than, actually, about 24 hours from the time of this recording. So, I mean, the anticipation's there. Maybe for some, actually. For some others, it's like, oh boy, we're in League Two. We don't have as good of a budget. And a few of our players, like Zane. Okay, some fans out there have some concerns about our squad, about our, how we're going to rotate our squad, who's going to play which position, and just with our a few of our players in general, like your Will Nightingales, your Nick Zanevs, players that are teetering in terms of consistency. Very inconsistent Nick Zanev was last season. Very inconsistent was Will Nightingale. And, where are players like Chislik going to slot in? Where are players like George Marsh going to slot in? I will say one thing. Marsh, for me, is a must start 100% no matter which lineup we use, and I will get into that. I have several different lineups that I'm going to be throwing out. Marsh is a must start for me, and Chislett, I think I only have him if we decide to play a 4-3-3. I have Chislett like out wide in the 3, but other than that, I don't really see Chislett slotting in very many lineups. I mean, he's a decent player all around, but in our system, it's going to be a little bit difficult because we're very center mid heavy. I think if we had one or two less center mids, I think Chislett would be starting much more often. But we're going to be having to axe at least one center mid, regardless of which lineup we use. But I will get into that in terms of lineups. So under Johnny Jackson, we're either going to be seeing most likely a 3-5-2, or actually, from what I hear in the last couple preseason games, we've been trying a 3-4-3. Starting off here with a 3-5-2. I put Zanev in goal here, but don't know if that's going to stay throughout the rest of the season. So both Zanev and Broom have some question marks. Zanev with his consistency and his ability on the feet, very much lackluster. Broom is much more confident on the ball, but not necessarily as good in terms of the aerial challenges. I think Zanev makes himself more physically imposing in the air, while Broom has a bit more of a struggle in terms of that. But we'll see how that pans out towards the rest of the season. I have Nightingale, Pearson, Kalambai as the back 3, Jack Curry as the left wing back, and George Marsh as the right wing back. I do have a second 3-5-2 option in which I have Gunter as the other outside wing back. But for this one, I would like to see Marsh. Part of it because of the chemistry that he has with Paris Magoma. I think at this stage where we have some question marks going into this season, I think chemistry is a huge factor. I think if we can get some good link-up play going, especially with that chemistry between the two, I think it'll certainly be of our benefit. I have George Marsh as a right wing back. He used to play outside back in the Tottenham Academy days, and then of course he sort of transitioned into a center mid. Woodyard and Magoma, the holding mids, McCormick as the attacking mid, as Sal and Davison up top. And by the way, none of these lineups I'm about to present will have Kyle Hudlin as a starter. I'm sorry, Kyle Hudlin, but I think he is somebody that you need to bring on in the 70th minute, 75th minute. Yes, he could be a target man. Maybe certain matchups, right? Certain matchups in which you have a team that doesn't have too tall or physically imposing of a center back pairing, maybe you can lump in Hudlin as a starter. But for now, I'm going to have a Sal and Davison as the strikers for all of my formations with 2 up top. Next is a 3-5-2 with Gunter as the outside back, and George Marsh and Paris Magoma as the holding mids. We will have to axe Alex Woodyard, in my opinion, if we do decide to put Gunter as the outside back here in the 3-5-2. Woodyard, hell of a work rate, I gotta say. You can't take that away from Alex Woodyard. He is a workhorse, and he will put 100% for the team. At times lacked a little bit on quality on the ball last season, though. And some people have questioned his captaincy abilities, and some people have questioned his leadership. While I do think he is a kind of player that you need to try to get your players up and going whenever they're in a downwards mental state, he's going to be the kind of player to try to rip one in you and try to, get you back in the game mentally. At times, as noted by Lee Finch from Almost At a Dream podcast, he tend to have a negative visualization, or negative reinforcement, should I say, rather than a positive reinforcement. If somebody didn't pass them, drive it down, low cross to him at the top of the box, he would throw his arms in the air and then kind of look away from the play for a second. That's not something you need. And I don't think Woodyard is going to be the captain anymore. I don't believe. I actually don't know who has the captainship, so catch me up to speed on that. But I think Marsh over Woodyard here. Everything else, virtually identical. Next up, a 3-4-3, which I think is highly possible to see here. And I have the same back three pairing, Woodyard and Magoma on the holding mids, as the holding mids. Technically, in a 3-4-3, you're actually an outside mid rather than an outside fullback. But I'm going to have Marsh as the right mid / right wing back, Curry as the left mid / left wing back. And then in the 3, Chislett, Davison, and Asal. I think Chislett will have a hard time finding himself in the starting lineup if we're going to be playing 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2 because our center mid depth is insane. But I do think Chislett is not too bad on that wide area. He had flashes of brilliance last season. Notably, the game against Charlton away, I believe Chislett, he created a couple of chances for himself, cut inside and try to blast it. He doesn't have a lot of power in his shot, but he can cut inside and create a chance for himself. And Chislett, not too bad on the 1v1s. With Jack Rodoni on the last season, the 1v1s, a lot of times he would just cut back and play to the center mid because he's kind of devoid for pace. But if you give Jack Rodoni an inch, he's going to take a mile. Very good on the ball. He can pick a pass as well. But Chislett, I think, is a little bit better on the 1v1 scenarios. You can have him as that left wing. And then, of course, Asal as the right wing. No question about it. I mean, Asal, he is an absolute animal. He's going to dog you no matter what. He's going to put that pressure on. If the defender, a center back, plays it to the outside back, Asal's going to try to pounce on that or try to put pressure on the outside back. And Davison up top, of course, over Hovland. Next, I have a 4-4-2 narrow, in which we have 4 center mids, essentially. This could help ease the tension a little bit. This could ease the overabundance of center mids. Woodyard is the holder, Magoma and Marsh as the center mids, McCormick as the attacking mid, Asal and Davison up top. No other changes. You got Curry and Gunter as the outside backs. Oh, well, one change. Nightingale not on the starting rotation. If we're playing a 4-4-2, I don't know if I trust Nightingale enough right now. I hope he proves me wrong. I think he certainly has the capability to improve. And he actually started off the last season very well. But then towards the later half of the season, his mentality started to go down, and he just wasn't there. He just wasn't all there. So Pierce and Kalambayi to start. I hope Nightingale can prove me wrong later in the season. For those of you that are not too bullish on Alex Woodyard, I also have another option here. George Marsh as the holder, which is not a bad idea at all. I think George Marsh is very good in getting out of pressure. His first touch is fantastic. And he's shown that plenty of times last season he was able to get out of pressure and prevent himself from getting dispossessed. I think Woodyard gets dispossessed more frequently than Marsh. McCormick and Magoma as the other 2 center mids. Chislett as the attacking mid. Asal and Davison up top. And also, quick note, I do have Asal as the left striker, Davison as the right striker. While you could argue that Davison is a better finisher, I do love Davison's cutback. When he's on the right side, he has a decent ability to finish far post, but he can also use that to his advantage. Fake shot, go to his left, draw the defender in, make him slide tackle or make him overcommit. I like Davison on that right side. I would like to see Davison on that right side. And then Asal on the left. Chislett as the attacking mid here if we decide to axe Woodyard from the rotation. I do think McCormick is the better option as a center attacking mid out of the 2, but Chislett is not known to be a center mid, up and down box to box. You want Chislett as an attacking mid. And McCormick is decent box to box, okay defensively too. He does help out on the defensive end sometimes in terms of effort. So I think McCormick as the regular center mid, not the attacking. Last but not least, the 4-3-3. And this is also where I see Ethan Chislett slotting in as that left attacking mid. Left wing. So Pearson Kalambayi, of course. Gunter and Curry as the outside backs. Magoma as the holding mid here. Although you could actually maybe slot Marsh in there. They're interchangeable in the 4-3-3 in my opinion. But I want to see Magoma and Marsh playing as often as possible. McCormick and Marsh as the other 2 center mids. Chislett on the wing, Asal on the wing, and Davison up top. I'm going to get a couple of other people's perspectives on potential lineups. So Womble's Had a Dream podcast posted a tweet 3 days ago basically just interchanging. Pick your team. I wish there were more interactive. I wish it was like a tier list in which you can drag and drop players and whatnot. But I will highlight a few replies to this particular tweet and see what other people think. So first we got Ed Hewison. I'm confident Bendel can play a big part of this season. Would love to see him starting a lot of games. That's another thing too. Alfie Bendel has sort of made himself has made a name for himself in preseason and the couple of games he played last season towards the end of the season. Did a good job. So that only adds to the center mid depth. He said that he's worried that Asal will struggle in this shape, though. I don't think he'll struggle. I just don't think he'll fit as well as he should in, say, a 4-3-3, or if he were to play as a center forward attacking mid. But the problem with him playing as attacking mid is, or attacking mid depth is already absolutely insane, right? So we're pretty much forced to lump Asal top as Hudlin is unproven, and we'll just see how we go from there. So we got Lee Brown. Okay, interesting. Lee Brown, Pierce, and Nightingale. Instead of Kalambayi, he decides to put Brown, Curry, and Gunter as the wingbacks, Magoma as the holder, McCormick and Bendel as the center mids, and then Davison and Asal up top. At One Was Dream replying, like it a lot. Do think Bendel will start on the bench. Agree regarding Asal. For us, he's not a natural striker. And then I hope Bendel gets starts. I watched him many times at Corinthian Casuals last season. Likely that he'll come in as an impact sub to begin with. Marsh's probably first choice, to be honest. Brilliant defensive player, but not creative enough for me. Bendel is more forward thinking. And then he also says, Asal isn't a natural striker, but he will terrorize League 2 center backs up there. Absolutely 100%, which is why I am bullish on Asal as a striker. Maybe not in terms of how he fits in the system, but I think he's absolutely monumental. We need to start Asal. 100%. I think the players that we need to start, no matter what formations we play, for me, George Marsh, Paris Magoma, and Ayub Asal, and Davison. Those are the four players that I feel like we need to start, no matter what. Those four players. So, in this, he actually shows Asal kind of hooking out wide, and same will go if he's on the left side. He'll hook out wide. Here we got a different perspective, actually, in regards to Kyle Hudlin. A lot of people are not so bullish on Kyle Hudlin. I'm kind of neutral on him, although I don't see him starting each and every game. But Letters actually has Kyle Hudlin starting up top. So we got Nightingale, Pierce, Kalambayi, Curry, and Gunter as the wingbacks. Pretty standard, right? McCormick and Magoma as the holding mids. That's fair enough. Woodyard is very polarizing for some. Asal as that attacking mid. That's fair. So let's see what he has to say about Hudlin. Can't see Hudlin not starting, considering he's just been signed by Huddersfield, who will be looking to give him consistent game time. Wanted to include Robinson and Bendel, but they'll no doubt come off the bench. Perhaps Bendel instead of McCormick, considering I personally don't think he's too impressive as of late. Brown last season was calamitous. Him as a center half with his lack of pace would only cause problems. I would agree with the pace part, and also very questionable overall. So we got at Sylphin1, 352, Zanev, Pierce, Nightingale, PK, and Brown. Wait, Zanev, Pierce, Nightingale, Paul Kalambayi, Brown, and Gunter as the outside backs. No Jack Curry. You got Maka, Woody, Asal, Davison, and Robinson. I think we're overlooking Zach Robinson a little bit. I think he definitely showed some promise. I, myself included, overlooked Zach Robinson personally. But Zach Robinson, I do think ideally he's a second choice striker over Kyle Hudlin. But Hudlin is that target man. I think he is more situationally ideal for us if we were to want to have a target man in certain games. But yeah, Zach Robinson is a second choice striker for me personally over Hudlin. He's got Maka, Woody, Asal, no Paris Magoma, which is interesting, and also no George Marsh. I mean, this is what speculation's all about, right? It's going to be really hard for Johnny Jackson to pick a tried and true starting 11 because our center mid depth is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. So we'll just see what we go from there, honestly. that'll be it for me today. I was pretty confident at first in my lineups, but then when I was reading the tweets, I'm like, wait a minute, who's gonna play here? Who's gonna play here? Who's gonna play here? Oh shit! So I'm gonna stick with my particular lineups. I would pick the second one that I threw out, which is the 3-5-2 with Gunter and Curry as the wingbacks, Marsh, Magoma, and McCormick center mids. Or the very last one that I put, the 4-3-3. I think the 4-3-3 is underlooked because it will allow Chislett, it will give him a bit of a role, and I think Chislett will be very good in that wide area. It will also allow Asal to fit in better. This is the key thing with the 4-3-3. Asal will fit in much better in this system than if we were to play a 2 up top. So Asal as that right winger, and then Magoma, Marsh, and McCormick I feel are our most consistent 3 center mids. That'll be it for my lineup talk. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I am super excited for the season. I know some people are like, we're going to place mid-table. In my honest assessment, I don't think we're going to get promoted right away. I think we will be placing in between 15th to 10th. I think is a reasonable prediction. I'm going to go with a 13th. That'll be my prediction. Just pretty much dead mid-table. Dead on mid-table. 13th to 12th. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys at game time.